My name's Harrison and I'm a university student in the University of Gloucestershire. I have effectively been given an assignment where I had to choose a way of making a business out of music. The possibilities were, I guess, endless in a way. So I've chosen the role of being a guitar tech. So what I will do is fix guitars, improve the look of guitars, improve how they sound, how they feel, how they play, etc. All different things. So that can range from a basic setup all the way to relicking guitars. There's all different things, like all different, difficulties, I suppose. So we're going to start off with a 2015 Gibson Les Paul. So this is a Les Paul traditional. It has two 1957 Alnico pickups. It has the brass nut, which you don't really tend to get in the modern day Les Pauls. The reason it's different from your standard Les Paul Classic, or Les Paul, Les Paul Standard now, is because it is built like a modern day Les Paul, like how you'd get today, what's built today. So less blemishes in the wood. It's really smooth up and down the neck, all around on the back of it as well, really smooth to play. So it feels much better to play. However, it sounds just like the 50s Les Paul. So that's down to the hardware, as I mentioned, the two 1957 Alnico pickups, the brass nut, and the hardtail bridge. Obviously all Les Pauls come with a hardtail, apart from the odd one that has a Floyd Rose on it. But this specific one, I can't remember off the top of my head why it's specific to a 1950s one. I believe it's just the way it's styled and the way it's built is how Les Paul himself designed it. So the entire guitar, the pickups, the nut, the bridge, the electronics in it, everything hardware wise is what Les Paul chose or designed himself. So it sounds like your classic 50s Les Paul. So what am I doing with this guitar today? Effectively, this jack plate. I unplugged it one day and it was very stiff, and as it came out, the plastic around the jack plate just shattered basically. So we're going to be swapping that out with a brand new aftermarket metal jack plate. Should last longer. Gibson do their own metal jack plates, however, as I mentioned, I'm a university student, I can't afford them. So I got this aftermarket one, fingers crossed it fits just like a normal one. But yeah, and it'll also last longer with it being metal. So let's head into the process and I'll show you how it's done. So this is all we need to do it. So as you can see, we've got the jack plate, we've got a screwdriver, and we've got a pair of pliers. Anyone can do this in the comfort of their own homes. It doesn't take long, nice and easy job. Let's get into it. So we're going to start off by undoing this bolt here. What we want to do, sometimes if you're lucky you can just undo it with your fingers. If not, that's what I said about the pliers, just so you can get that bit of extra leverage and then easily undo it. Luckily it feels like this is loose enough, he says. There we go, just to undo with my fingers. So that's a nice easy job. So you take that little bolt off, then you'll want to get this washer off underneath. If you've got nails, it's a lot easier. I do not have nails, so it's a struggle. It can be a fiddly job, it depends on the guitar. All guitars are basically the same process of doing this. Some guitars, so for example Fender Stratocasters, they basically have the jack almost built in to the jack plate. But it's the same process, just different shape jack plate. If you can't get it off with your fingers, it's alright. Tip it upside down, that washer will come straight off. The next step, you want to grab your screwdriver. It's just a case of going around all these screws, undoing them. A special way to do this, you don't want to go 1, 2, 3, 4, just because of the tension in the wood. You want to minimise the risk of cracking the wood. So you want to go start in one corner, go to the opposite, then vice versa. Next corner, go to the opposite. Then you don't want to undo it fully. You want to loosen them off a bit, take them about halfway, like that, and then move on to the next corner. So if we finish taking these out, we've got each screw halfway, then we just take them out all the way from there. Now this jack plate, it was actually missing part of the corner, so I don't even need to take that screw out because it's missing that entire corner. That screw is just doing nothing, so that can go. We'll take this last screw out so it can actually fit the other jack plate on. Sorted. So this other jack plate comes with some spare screws, so in case your other screws, your original screws, were rusty or beaten or whatever, then you've got, luckily this one comes with the spares, so you don't need to worry. They're probably also a little bit longer or a little bit bulkier, just because the older screws, they're probably screwed into the body, the wood would have worn away around them, so these will just dig a bit deeper into the wood to prevent it from slipping, fix it in place, make sure it's secure. Luckily, looking at the older screws, it doesn't look like they're too bad. They look pretty much brand new, so we can keep the older screws in, keep them other screws for if we need them in future. So what we're going to do, we'll take this jack plate out. Now when it comes to fitting it, now the jack plate is curved with the body, so you've got a straight edge along there and you've got a curved edge along there. Also you want to make sure that that curve sits nicely on the edge of the body. So just slip that over, then we can start screwing it back in again. So same process as before. You want to get the screws in just a little bit, so if we stick that in a bit, just loosely tighten it with our fingers so it stays nicely in place with the screwdriver. Then we just want to tighten that down about halfway, so that screw's not going anywhere. You want it so you can hardly feel any tension at all for now. And then we go to the opposite corner, put the next screw in, and again halfway down, just so it stays in place. And you want to follow that process basically backwards to how we're taking it off on all 4 screws. So start with one, halfway down, go to the opposite corner, halfway down, then vice versa on the other 2 corners, and then once you've done them other 2 corners, you can then tighten them all the way down. So we'll do that now. So now all 4 screws are halfway in, we can then start tightening them all the way up. Then what you want to do is just go around all of them screws once they're in properly. Just want to go around them all, make sure they are nice and tight, they're not slipping anywhere. And then, just like how we took it off, washer, just slip it over, then we get that nut and we screw it on, straight down, no issues at all. Try and tighten it up with your fingers. If you want to, then you can tighten it up with the pliers. I mean, you don't have to. It can sometimes come a bit loose when you're playing if you don't. But again, you can just tighten that up with your fingers whilst you're playing. I'm going to do it just a little bit, not too tight, but then it's still tighter than what my fingers will do. So that's not going anywhere. So that's sorted, all fixed on, no issues at all. We'll give it a test. I'm pretty happy with this. Nice easy fix. Honestly, I prefer the look of that jack plate. I think it, like personally, I think it looks better than the ugly creamy coloured jack plate, the plastic one that we had before. It goes really well with the chrome hardware that I've got. I'm also very impressed with how well the aftermarket fits to the body. I was expecting it to have maybe a little gap between the plate and the wood, but no, honestly, it fits really well. If you find that if you do buy an aftermarket and it doesn't say if there is a gap, if it isn't quite flush, hopefully it's just a case of you can maybe heat up the jack plate and try and bend it to the shape that you need. That'll be obviously a bit of a bigger job. I'm lucky I don't have to do that now. But no, I'm really impressed with that. In the next video, we're going to be picking up this Schecter Banshee Max 7. It's a 7 string. Cracker, that's so much lighter than the Les Paul. It threw me off a bit. Brilliant guitar. Designed for heavy metal, really, as it looks pretty metal. The problem with this guitar, it's a Floyd Rose bridge. The client, he restrung it the other day. He came to me with the issue that when he restrung it, he left it overnight, and overnight the strings had sort of adjusted. Obviously the springs in the back, that's what makes the Floyd wobble with the whammy bar. So it's just a case of going in there, adjusting the spring tension, and basically getting that bridge to be flat with the body again, making it parallel rather than being at the angle that it is currently at. So until then, I will see you soon. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you found it helpful. Yeah, thank you for watching.